On this week's episode, we continue with Lighting Month. Steve? Steve? Steve?
There's only one thing that we love more than eating food with chopsticks, and that's photography.
Well, how was that for a little bit of cheese? You light up my life.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Debbie Boone songs.
You're quite the
of all
dreamer.
time. That's right.
Yeah, you know, we just don't get enough Debbie Boone on our...
I bet you we are the first photography show that has ever used a Debbie Boone song.
That's right. It's scary if we
I
start
can
using a
guarantee
Pat
you,
Boone song. though.
we will be the last show that will ever use a Debbie Boone show. Hey, but thanks for joining us this week. We have got another fun week where we're talking about all things lighting.
That's right. It's lighting month, so...
So last week, if you joined us, if you didn't, you need to go back and watch last week's show.
Yeah,
it was
good.
It was a great show. I really enjoyed it, and we used the most basic of light, right? Besides probably natural light being the most basic, but we used a flash, right? Just a simple speed light. And in fact, we used our $30 Amazon flash.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable until
we got two setups and it quit working.
Right, it quit working. We were wondering why, and we came back to the studio and we're like, this thing won't flash anymore. It just doesn't work. And we were actually a little frustrated. It wasn't overly bad because it was only a $30 flash. If that happened to my $500 Nikon speedlight, I'd not be happy. But so what I did is I opened it up and I found out that one of our batteries actually leaked.
Yeah.
Right? And it's got kind of corroded inside that fast and shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, whether the flash overheated it and it leaked, or if it was just a leaking batteries leaked.
Sorry, so flashing in your eyes there. But now it actually works again. So we're going to actually do a review real soon of the Amazon Basics Flash. But the performance of this thing for $30, the performance of this thing for $100, so it would be pretty good. So it was pretty amazing. But
so we just wanted to be fair with the fact that that product, it wasn't the product it looks like, it was just a leaking battery.
So
But last week was fun, because we were able to be really mobile and just move quickly. This week we're not going to be handicapped in any way as far as mobility, but we're moving on to away from our speedlights into our flashes or our monolights.
Our big bad boys.
Yeah. So if you've been watching the show at any length of time, you know that we do use the Interfit S1s. The one thing we do love about these things now is there's no cords. It's got the battery pack on it. This thing will do 350 full power flashes. Lasts much longer than it will shooting with AA batteries in a speedlight. And most of your speedlights, if you don't know this, they're probably anywhere between 60 and 80 watts.
Yeah, not real high.
This is 500 watts. So when we talk about today, one of the things we want to look at is, when is a speedlight inadequate? When do we need to move into these things? And we're going to show you that today.
So I think that's what's fun about Lighting Month is we show you a bunch of different lighting scenarios, going again from really basic stuff that you can do for less than $100 for a complete setup, up into the next level. And I think it's going to be a great thing. When you go out on our photo walk today, you'll actually see us putting this into action with one of our friends.
All right, so let's load up the walk.
I'm going to put this in there too. I'm just going to bring it just for fun.
I want to use it.
Might shoot a little bit, and let's go out on our photo walk.
All right, let's do it. All right, so last week we showed you using small speed lights to light a subject. This week we're moving up, like we told you, to the monolight. Now this thing's got 500 watt seconds of power, and these are the days that we really have a hard time using speed lights, especially in open areas like this. So what's happening is I have a lot of hot spots in the background, and the only way that I can make those spots darker is to close down my lens and make them darker. But when I looked at my exposure, what I had seen is I needed to go to f11 to get an exposure that I like. The problem is at f11, Jessica almost just turns totally in the darkness there. She's almost a silhouette. So that's where we have to take that 500 watts of power. Right now I have it one stop of light less than its maximum power right now. So we're probably using somewhere right around 420 watts on her, and that's what it's taking to light her up so that she's just as bright as our background. So let's take a shot and let's see what happens. Fantastic. Smile. So what you're going to notice is I actually now would normally, to get her exposed, especially with something like a small speed light that's putting out 70 watts of power, not only would I have to have that light extremely close to her, but I would lose all the detail in the background. And in this particular instance, I want to keep the detail. I want to see things in the back. So this is one of those times where a small speed light really doesn't have any advantage over a large monolight. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about using our soft boxes. This is one thing I see a lot of people doing. Whenever they're using a soft box, they're looking at their soft box, thinking of it like a flashlight, like this light is coming straight out of the soft box. And what happens is, our thinking is, we need to point it right at our subject. The problem is that no matter how good our soft boxes are, we're always going to have a brighter spot in the center than we are as it fades out to the outside. So one of the things I always tell everybody to do is feather your lights off. You don't always have to make sure that this center is pointing right at your subject's face. If you look at a soft box and you look how the angle comes off of the soft box, the steepness of the sides, that's going to be how your light is actually going to come out of the soft box. So this light is not going to come out this way like a flashlight. It's going to come out like this, like a huge floodlight. It's just going to spread out, and it's very soft. One of my favorite ways to shoot portraits is actually to put the light almost perpendicular to the subject's face as they're looking. So I have Jessica sitting there. She's actually, if we looked at it from the side, she's behind the softbox. But because of the edge of my softbox, light is spilling out onto Jessica really nice. And then this light off of this far side is actually coming around and reaching the far side of her face, so that we get a nice gradient of light on her face and everything just looks nice and soft. So let's give this a try. Yeah, beautiful light by a softbox that's not actually pointed at the subject. All right, one last lesson as we talk about monolights today. Now this is actually for your monolights, your speed lights, when you're shooting high-speed sync, whenever. This is something we had asked a lot, is where should I place my light? So what I look at when I'm shooting a model is I'm looking right now and the sunlight is over her right shoulder. So it's setting up above her right shoulder. Where am I gonna put my softbox? The left side? No. I'm actually gonna put it on the same side that the sun is coming on. Why am I doing that? Because I don't want this to look flashed. I want it to look like the light is just wrapping around the subject. So I have this super bright sunlight coming in. It just feels natural that that softbox is extending that light and looking very soft around her face. So let's take a shot and let me show you what this looks like. Beautiful. It does not look like we're using a flash. All right, thank you for watching, everybody, and a huge thank you to our model Jessica today. She did a fantastic job. You can follow her on Instagram at jessica.bonita. So like and subscribe, and thanks, guys.
Well, that was fun.
That was great to get out and play.
Yes.
So
yes.
hopefully you got the idea of when it's better, not better, but when
Appropriate.
when a monolight is going to help you get the images you want over a speedlight.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was fun.
yeah, I think it's an obvious choice. It's it's a thing of both.
Ooh, what's that smell?
Could it be fresh baked?
I think it's
fortune
fresh baked
cookies?
fortune cookies.
It is now time for Fortunate Questions with the Chopstick Guys.
It was. Oh, just smell the aroma.
Straight out of the fortune
Do
cookie.
you want to eat a cookie?
Let's just see if we can get just a good balance.
Just a balance. There you go.
Oh, that was nice. You know, I am really impressed. After 30 episodes, we have now mastered the fortune cookie pass.
Exactly.
All
I can
right.
eat with chopsticks now.
What do we have here today?
Is it?
I really got to wear my glasses for
Yes.
this. 'Cause it says, shopping online the other day, I noticed that there were two prices on a product. One for gray market
Okay.
and one for regular. What's the difference?
All right. Who's that from?
Bill in Benicia.
In Benicia.
It's funny.
Hey.
Bill in Benicia.
Well, William in Benicia, or
Bill, or Billy.
or Billy, or I have a William at home. My youngest son is Will.
Anyways.
So, but we're going to get off on a tangent. So, I guess what he's asking is what is gray market?
Yep.
I remember getting into photography, and the first thing I started to look at, because that was kind of right about when eBay came into being, is right about when digital photography was getting big, and I would see things and I'd go, wow, this lens is like $400 cheaper than it is
Right.
at B&H.
Yep.
And then people
Or
started
even
going,
B&H had two prices
yeah,
sometimes too.
but people would go, be careful, gray market, gray market. I remember in the beginning thinking, be careful, gray market, it's still built by Nikon, still built by Canon.
Same product.
Same product. But so what is gray market?
So a gray market would be that it's a unit, a product that's made for another country other than the U.S.
Correct.
So what happens is that you have something that's made for the U.S. It comes with the U.S. warranty. So if you do have a problem with your product, let's just take that lens for example. You buy a Nikon lens from B&H. It's either a gray market. Sometimes they call it transshipped goods, but it's usually called gray market. One will be for the U.S. market. One will be for the market in Australia or wherever.
Yep.
But the gray mark one does not come with the USA warranty. Now that's a gamble, right?
It really is. Because if something goes wrong, if you guys remember a couple of years ago, Nikon had a problem with the D600.
Yeah.
I had a
Great example.
D600
Yep.
and it kept getting those spots all over the sensor. So they said, send it into us.
It
I
was an
sent
oil
it in.
problem.
They sent it back within like a week. It was like, it's back. They said, send it in, let our guys look at it. I sent it in and they went, forget it. We're giving you a brand new 610. It's on its way.
So you got an upgraded camera.
I got an upgraded camera and
Free
they
of charge.
fixed the problem. But had I had a gray market, they'd have said, not a U.S. warranty issue. So
And often you think, well, come on, they'll still honor it as their product. They won't.
Yeah.
They will not. I've heard horror stories of people that spent thousands of dollars on products. You buy a 7200 lens you're saving $300 maybe.
Yep.
And
people don't
not worth
understand
it.
that the problem with gray market things is the fact that, we have this global market, there's tariffs, there's shipping, there's all kinds of things that go into depending on where the camera's manufactured.
Yeah.
So you have trading partners. So suddenly you have a product that's made in Asia. Of course it can be sold cheaper in Asia because they're not paying the same tariffs that they would have to ship it overseas. Yeah. And suddenly now you're sticking, the American company with the bill when you try to go, well, now I need you to fix it. And he's going, yeah, but you saved X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
That's part of the money that goes into paying for all these other things.
So for Bill, if you are in the market for something, camera-wise, it's totally up to you. I wouldn't say don't buy gray market
Correct.
goods on something that maybe won't break.
Have I bought gray market? Of course I have.
It's a risk,
Yeah.
So figure out what your tolerance is to that kind of risk and go with it.
Yeah.
For me personally, I wouldn't take the risk because I just know electronics, they do have a failure rate, and I don't want to take that chance. My gear that we use professionally is too important to take a chance on that.
And both of us have had problems with our gear
We have.
in the past, and we were glad that we had U.S. warranties. So good question.
Good, Bill. Actually, really, really good question. So as always, and Bill, since you sent in your question, what do we have? We have
Bill.
There it is.
Beautiful deluxe bamboo sushi set.
That's
sushi
right.
set.
It's a sushi set,
That
which
is-
includes
2 sets of beautiful chopsticks. The
There you go.
Chopstick Guys fortune cookies with some incredible fortunes in there related to photography. You get your wasabi soy bowls and your chopstick rests all in this beautiful package. So, Bill, we will be contacting you. We'll be sending this to
That's
you.
right. So as always, please feel free to send in your questions to us, either via email, or you can just write them in the comments below. And if we pick your question, it will be stuffed into a fortune cookie every single week. Well, your question won't be stuffed
Not
in
every
every
week.
single week, but somebody's question will. Yeah. That'll be pretty good. Billy, I want another one.
I have 4 kids. I'm going to start sending you until
That's
I get
right.
enough.
So we'll
sushi
actually
stuff.
go ahead and put that right into our fortune cookie and read it on air. And you
Yes.
too will get a fine bamboo sushi set each and every week.
Right, talking raw. Talking raw.
Oh, look at this beautiful selection that you will not be allowed to touch this week because it will be your turn.
Life's not fair.
It is not fair. So,
Hey, I have got a little quick Lightroom tip for you. And this one is...
I'm going to hold off.
Hold up, because... Thank
You know, I'm not a Lightroom guy, but you keep trying to convert me to
I
Lightroom,
know,
so I'm
I
going
know.
to pay attention this week.
So what we got going on here, this is something that is so kind of elementary that I always assume people know. But when I showed it to somebody the other day, like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm always exporting my picture before I use it in something else. So I've got this picture up on in my Lightroom here of Nico, one of the guys that we work with all the time for our workshops. And there's a few spots on his face that, and he's got a great looking face, but just a few of these little pimples here on his face that I can use the tools in Lightroom for doing, hey.
It's just like,
doing the tools in Lightroom to do some of that kind of spot removal and stuff. I don't really like the tools. Now, don't go off on me saying, oh, see, Lightroom's bad. They don't work as well as they do in Photoshop for those healing brushes.
For blemishes and
that
things.
kind of
Okay.
stuff. So all you have to do is simply right click on your mouse and say edit in. When you do that, it opens up the window of every single plugin that I have connected to Lightroom.
Okay.
So for example, I have Photoshop CC plugged in.
Okay.
So I just simply open that up, and when I do, it will open up. Here we go. It's coming. There we are. So now I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit so I can get closer onto his face. And I'm simply going to just zoom in so I can actually see some of these blemishes. Now, they're not bad down here, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit my spot healing brush tool. And I'm just going to clean these up a little bit. I mean, it's nothing major. He's got a great looking face, right? So now I just simply go back and say File, and I want to save it. Oops.
or Control S, and it just...
Right, either way, if you're into using shortcuts, right?
Yep.
So now if I'm back into my Lightroom,
Okay.
it's been brought right back there, and you can see I now have 2 copies, right?
Okay.
I've got my original copy, this one, and then I've got my copy that I just did in Lightroom.
Okay.
So you're never affecting that original copy in
So if you
Lightroom.
decided like, oh, I overworked it in Photoshop, you go back
You
to
now have
that.
2 copies.
Okay.
So often what I'll do is I'll just in one of the other episodes I talked about using flags, I'll just unflag this original, right? And now it's gone from my timeline below. So I don't have
Because
I
you
don't
thought
have
it
to
was
see
good enough
right?
that you thought your changes were
now,
good.
I want to keep that original, so it's still in my catalog,
Okay.
but it's not in my timeline, so I don't have to worry about it because that's the image that I'm working with at this point. But super easy. I use this to say, okay, edit into, Color Effects Pro, right? Now, I know we're talking about a product there that's discontinued, and it still makes me sad, but
Yes.
I am going to use that until I can't
Until
use
it
it
doesn't
anymore,
work anymore.
And simply, I just, can edit right in there, open that up, do the exact same thing, save it, and it pops right back
Okay.
into Lightroom. So rather than, what I've seen a lot of people do is they'll export the picture out of Lightroom, bring it back up into Photoshop, back and forth. What a pain in the rear. This makes it super easy to not have to do that. So just like I would do here, just go ahead and save it, brings it right back into Lightroom.
Okay.
All right. Quick and
It's
easy.
a good tip if you're new to Lightroom or you've maybe been using it for a while. We always find that people just have little holes in their learning.
Yeah, and it's sometimes the most basic stuff. But just remember, right click on your mouse and it brings up edit in, gets you right there.
All right. It's a good tip.
You're
I've been waiting so long.
gonna drop it.
Okay.
All right,
I can wait a couple more minutes.
It is time for some food for thought.
All right. My food for thought is this looks amazing and I
know,
want
but
to
you're-
eat some more sushi.
You can't.
Food for thought. No, this is a great episode again. I think the fact that we went out and we shot with the big Monolights this week, and they weren't necessarily big, but
Huge.
compared to compared to the Speedlights, they're huge, like China,
Yes.
where the other Speedlight came from. But no, it always reiterates the fact that we hate to say it, but sometimes it really is about the gear. You can do lots with minimal gear, but there are some things that you just can't do. And I think you saw that today.
Yeah, just overpowering other light.
Correct.
Right?
And if it's something you're never going to do, then don't worry about it. But I think what happens is once all of a sudden you start going, the reason I use monolights all the time is that I never now run into the position where I go, oh, I wished I had a monolight. I say that a lot when I use a flash.
Yep.
I sit there and go, these are incredible pictures. Then I'll get to a spot where I go, oh, now I'm stuck.
I wish I had more.
So, wish I had more. So that's
My food for thought is we are living in an incredible time in photography. I mean, we really are.
Yes.
Like, this is the best it has ever been.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better, but right now is the best that it's ever been in photography. We have so many incredible tools at our disposal, from, Photoshop, Lightroom, to lighting. I mean, just think of what we're able to do nowadays with lighting. And when we come back in next week, just giving you a little teaser of next week, we're going to talk about stuff like high-speed sync, things you can do with
more
the lights,
advanced techniques,
taking it to the next limit. But it's like, it's just amazing for the price today that you can get photo equipment, including these monolights, to create magic that you can create. It's just, it blows you away. I mean, this is what used to take you $10,000, $15,000 to do,
and years to perfect.
Yeah.
In the darkroom, you had to go to someone
nowadays
who knew
you
how
can
to
take
do
two
it.
hacks like this and we can actually create something pretty good. But no, it's really fun. It's a really fun time. We'll actually put the link to below for the S1 lights that we use. We do offer, Interfit has been nice enough to give us a discount code that we can hand out to our viewers. Right. So if you're interested, you can always email us more questions about them. We love them.
Yes.
Save yourself some dollars and use the code below.
All right.
So that's it for this week.
Yeah. And like always, we ask you to like and subscribe, and don't forget to do what?
Bing!
Yeah.
Ring the bell.
Ring the
bell.
bell.
I can never figure out which side.
They keep moving it. They just made a change to whatever that.
Yeah, but when you ring that bell and actually just click on the bell icon, that will simply allow you to be alerted every time that we post something new, not just the show, but any of the little tips and tricks that we always post throughout the week. Yeah. But as always, we thank you guys for joining us today, and don't forget to always
say sushi.
All right, until next time, guys, we'll see you. We want to welcome you to our YouTube channel. That's right, the Panoptic Chopstick channel, where we are bringing fun to photography.
Hey, we want to invite you each week to join us on Tuesday, where we put out a new episode of our Panoptic Chopstick show, where we will give you tips, tricks, interviews with photographers. We'll give you DIY projects to do on your own, and maybe even inspire you a bit.
That's right, including always a little dash of fun. So we want to invite you to go ahead and subscribe and like our channel, where you will get notified every Tuesday of brand new episodes. But welcome to the Panoptic Chopsticks channel.
Come join the fun.